Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be talking about getting into grad school and I'll be showing you the steps I took while applying for graduate school. This is for you if you're a career professional or if you're going into academia and you want to further your education. So I followed basically these 10 steps, searching for the right school, preparing your documents, start your application, what I was doing during the wait period, paying your deposit, applying for your visa, booking your flights, preparing for your trip abroad, preparing for the job market, and excelling in grad school. Some of these things, the last 3 steps, were a bit new to me then, so I didn't really put that much effort into it. But based on my experiences now, I'll be able to tell you what I think you should do if you're preparing for grad school and how to make use of that time effectively. So the first thing is searching for the right school, the cost requirements that is needed, and funding. So I put all this into Excel, like a sample of the template is just a sample, is not exactly what it is. So you can search for the school yourself and get a accurate requirement. So but I have a template for you on ground. So basically what you were looking for, you want to identify the schools you want, using QS ranking, maybe forums or even networking. Sometimes you hear from different people telling you about the schools they've gone to, or maybe the schools they think are really good, and this comes from doing your own research yourself, going through LinkedIn posts. If you have maybe a friend or someone schooling abroad, it's also easier for you to be able to identify the kind of schools you want to go to. There are different requirements. Some is based on funding, some is based on the school, some is based on location. So it depends on what exactly you want to do and the course you want to go in for. So I recommend that the key thing you should do is do your research. And the course requirement for the schools, you understand the admission requirements. Some schools require GMAT, some require GRE. Not all schools require that, especially in the UK, for example, where I studied. Most times it's just the basic requirement like your transcript, your CV, your personal statements, and maybe your certificate. So you may just need just few requirements and then you're ready to, go. Then the funding, there are different scholarships within the school and it also depends on your course. Some are also external scholarships, like maybe there's a particular body that is funding the particular course, maybe a research or something like that. So it's also essential that you know exactly what kind of funding you're going into. So we have partial funding, we have full funding, we have all that pay both your tuition, your accommodation, your feeding. That was the one I got. So it's really good if you prep for that and then apply for that as early as possible. So this is the template I created for you to kind of break down what you want to do. This is really good if you're doing it yourself, because I did it myself. But if you're paying for someone, obviously that would be different because they know the routine that they would go through. But if you're doing it yourself, you can follow this template. It's actually easy for you to navigate and you'll be able to know when you're applying, when you've applied, when you still have some basic requirements or some additional requirements that you need to put into place. So you have to know the school name, you have to know what they require. Some schools require just first class, like maybe schools like Cambridge or Oxford. Some still require 2-1, but some specific courses will tell you first class basically. So it's good to know exactly what the requirements are and prepare them. Preparing all these requirements are actually very easy. It's not that deep the way people think, oh, how do I start? What do I do? It's just write all these things down and then tick it one by one as you're getting it. Like if you have your certificate, if you have your transcript, your student transcript, your CV, go online, type different CV templates, academic CV, you'll be able to write everything easily. And if you can ask ChatGPT to help you explain exactly what you've done before you have a draft. You can ask it to, give you better templates or just outline the things that you need to put to ensure that your CV is really good. You have to ensure that you have all your accurate documents so that when you start your application, you're not looking for, oh, how do I get my reference letter, or how do I get this? You already have everything on ground. For some schools, you just type in for reference letters, they tell you one, some tell you two, most times it's two. So you need to contact your referees on time. Sometimes give them 2 months, sometimes even before, because definitely you know that your referees are busy. They also have other things they're doing. So me, I used to contact them like 3 months before, sometimes just to know on time, sometimes 2 months before, and then they are aware about the references they need to give you, or the reference they need to give you. So then your personal statement. This is actually very important because writing a personal statement is another ball game, and you need to have like templates. As I said, there are templates online. If you really want to do this yourself, you have to put in the work. Some people just want something free, or they just want to just do it anyhow, and then they expect them to get a good result. That won't work. This is for you if you actually want to do this thing and get the result by next year, or even anytime you're preparing for grad school, you're good to go. Your personal statement is extremely important. It will give the people that are selecting you, even for scholarships, for anything at all, it puts you in a very good standard, even in the school, even in getting other things like part-time jobs within the school, or maybe applying for different association in the school for people who are who love that kind of thing. So it's actually very good to learn how to write that. These requirements are necessary. Once you have them, then you're good to go. Some schools require IELTS, some don't. Most schools in the UK, as I know, don't really, except maybe for a particular course. So it's important that you know exactly what course you're going for. Then the tuition fee, know that if you're paying yourself or if someone is funding you, it's good to know the tuition you're paying for, especially if you're self-funded. But if you're looking for scholarship, then you need to know exactly what you need to do. Then the course itself, these are just examples. As I said, they are not outrightly correct thing. Some are, but this is just, like I said, it's a template for you if you're starting out. Then the scholarships you want to apply for, you may want to look through the scholarship. If you have internal scholarship in the schools, that one is actually way better. And sometimes when you apply for schools, if you're seeing your result is really good, they give you partial scholarship, which is part payment. Some give you full scholarship. For most times for research, you get a full funding based on what you do, what you are interested in, on the research you're going into. Then you look at the deadline for both your course and your scholarship. And then most time when you actually going through this process, it's good that you outline that you've submitted a particular one, or one in pending or one is ongoing. When you're starting, it's good to do at least 2 to 3 applications. At least do that, just in case one doesn't work out. Most times you do more than that, but at least know that you're doing 2-3 schools, so that if one doesn't work out, you don't feel disappointed. So it's actually very good to be prepared when you're doing this. Then these are some of the keywords that you can use to search for schools on Google. Basically, if you're starting out and you really don't know anything, and as I said, this is for people who are just starting, they don't know anything, use your Google. You will be able to search for anything at all. The only thing is to take your time. But if you have the money, as I said, you could pay for someone to do it for you. But most times when you do things yourself, you're in control of what happens, and you're able to navigate, or be able to do things the way you want. Most times you can't do that if you're giving someone else to help you do. You can see sometimes you see the positive result and the negative result. Well, that being said, doing it yourself is very good. So these are some of the keywords you can type on Google to be able to find. This is for AI because that's what I did, but you can just insert the course you want to do for this. This will help you to bring in the search for the schools, look at the requirement, write it down, look at the scholarships, write it down, and then start your application ASAP. The faster you apply, the better chances you start getting the outcome you want, and then you start preparing for your grad school. The same thing for the keywords for how to search with the school and with scholarships. Most times these processes for schools are almost the same thing, even though they are in different countries. Even let's say for the US, for example, that use GRE and TOEFL, or maybe IELTS, the application processes are almost the same. The difference is maybe the US, I think you do statement of purpose and then one other maybe personal statement. I know you write two statements, if I'm correct, because I've applied to the US before also. So, but most of the time you also get your recommendations, you get your transcript, you get all those things. The only delay is that you need to write an exam. So most times for US school, you have like a whole year to prepare, because you have to write exam and then you have to, send in all those things to the schools. So even for other European countries or other things, almost follow the same process. You would definitely get almost the same result. The difference is that you have to put in the work. But believe me, the results is tremendous. When you do that, by the time you're abroad, you won't even remember when you go through all this process that was involved. So, as I said, this is the part one of the first step: searching the right school, and then trying to put in all the work that has to do with research. The first step is basically research and outline everything you need. So thank you. I hope this was valuable for you. If you have any comments, please drop it. If you need me to answer some questions, or maybe just need some help, please drop it in the comments and I will be happy to respond. So see you in the part 2 of this getting into grad school.